Guys, I've been talking about the ANH Champagnerian growth theory for a while. Let's change the topic because I sometimes if you focus on one topic too long, it's kind of getting bored. So I want to switch the focus. uh, Fortunately, we have, sometimes, the reality is more dramatic than movies or TV dramas, and that's what we have seen since 2026. Basically, we just passed the first quarter of the 21st century. And the first year that at the beginning of the year, we have a real drama of capturing the Maduros, and I don't know how to pronounce his name. But also, meantime, we also have Trump people in the Trump administration threatening to overtake Greenland. So this reality is really more dramatic. We are um, we are citizens, and but we can be not just uh, watch, not just viewers of the government actions. We have to take some all responsibilities to come up with something that make us citizens more responsible for the investment for the international affairs. I think one of the biggest difference between the U.S. and many other countries. Let's face it. Today's world is basically two words. It's the U.S. versus everybody else to a certain extent, right? So but the one thing that strikes me the most for the US people, the American people, is that we have an anti-NYB mindset. What is NYB? None of my business, none of your business. That's prevailing in China, it's prevailing in pretty much, I think, I'm pretty sure that in many other countries, including Venezuela. People don't take actions. People don't let people and voice their opinions until the issues concern themselves. That NYB, none of your business mindset, it's what makes this country great. I want to be one of the citizens to that. And, the event that it comes up to make me think, what can we do in terms of international governance? You know, we're not just talking about the peace maintenance, peacekeeping, but we're more generally talk about international governance. And then, in the past, ever since the capturing Maduros, I've been thinking about this, and then I come up with three ideas. Let's just talk about the first one. The first one The first principle is that any sovereignty countries is allowed to take defensive action if under several conditions. The first condition is that if a hostile country, whether it's a neighboring country or other countries, um, launched consistent, systematic, intentional, and even sometimes organized actions against my country, then that country has the right to defend itself. Okay, what makes the defensive action I'll be talking about there? Because remember, I have three pillars, three principles for the new framework of international governance. The first one is you have to um, what makes the defensive actions justifiable? My principle, the first principle is that you have to satisfy the two conditions. Number one, it has to be actions, not just the rhetoric, not just the word game, not just the ideological tag, not just the value differences. Okay, so this is very important. Action more than words. Okay, you can say whatever you like. This obviously You can do smear marketing, attacking this, but unless you take concrete actions, measurable, quantifiable, quantifiable actions, then that country, sovereign country, do not have the right to have a preemptive strikes against another country. So that's one thing. The second justifier is that it has to be across in the national borders. So you can do that. You can move whatever in within your sovereignty country, the national borders. You can do things, but unless you cross the borders, then that would give the sovereignty country defensive right. Okay, so those two conditions are very important. So let's look at the reality. Based on this, my two principles. What are the justifiable actions? Unfortunately, a lot of countries are not, falling into the unqualified, unjustified countries. Let's look at Russia. Russia invaded Ukraine. Ukraine, you may say that we have read some report that Ukraine was treating some people within their own country, Russian people, Russian origin people, unfairly, right? But that's one thing. That's action. That's just not just word because they have some regulations, they have some rules within the Ukraine. But it's very important that's not a give Russia the right to invade Ukraine because number one, uh, the most important thing is that Ukraine did not cross the border and intentionally, consistently, systematically organized actions against Russia. So that Russia can say that they feel the threat. If Ukraine is joined the NATO, but that alone is not sufficient for Russia to invade Ukraine. So that's one case. The second case is the Taiwan. So far, we haven't seen any evidence to show that the Taiwanese government systematically, intentionally, consistently, organizationally uh, launched actions across the Taiwan Strait against the mainland. So that means that the mainland does not have um, the right to defend itself. You know, you can say that the China can say, well, the Taiwan is part of China, but that's just let's just ignore that. Let's put the history aside. Let's look at the today's situation. Okay, so that's another case. We have Russia and mainland China. Unfortunately, the third one will be the U.S. I love this country, but I love the international peace and justice more. And so the U.S. Trump administration has been threatening to invade Greenland. That's wrong. That U.S. doesn't have the defensive right to invade any other countries. Number one, Greenland never threatened, not even words, to attack the U.S. Right? And because people in Ukraine, in Greenland, suppose they see themselves as a part of NATO, they're part of allies of the U.S. So they would not even have the verbal attack of the U.S. Let alone that the cross-border offensive moves against the U.S. So that by that same principle, the U.S. does not have any defensive right to invade Greenland. Okay, and then so those are the three things that I think illustrate the thing that my principles, the two principles. Let's stop here. We have two more pillars coming next.